Hey girl, it's Megan. Hi. Okay, I'm gonna go through probably. I'm not gonna go through each individual one, but I'm gonna try to go through each one that is problem that is different with you, and walk it through with you. And remember, I'm not a math teacher, so hopefully the words I use make sense to you. But and then you can take so if there's a problem that looks just like this, a different problem, you can just insert the different numbers and still use this example from the video to kind of step it through. Now, if you get through this video and you've done those problems and you're still totally confused on other problems, let's do maybe a FaceTime chat or a video chat where I can work the problems through with you, and then you can actually ask me questions and I can help you understand where you're not understanding. Okay, so number one. So do these with me on your sheet, and hopefully I will answer the questions you have. So in each of these problems, we're trying to solve for x. So on here, x plus 6 equals 23. So we need to get x alone. So we need to get rid of the 6 and move it over onto this other side of the equal sign. So with this 6, it's a plus 6. Now to move it over on this side, we have to do the opposite of what this sign says. So the opposite of addition is subtraction. So we are going to subtract 6. So basically what this does is it gets rid of it from this side. Now whatever you do on this side, you also have to do on the other side. So we're going to take it over to the 23 and minus the 6. Or you can put minus 6 up here. If you prefer to write it the long way, you can do minus 6 here, whichever way you prefer. Okay? And then we're going to just do the math problem. So then from here, you are just going to say 23 minus 6. So grab your handy calculator, do 23 minus 6, and that is 17. And now you're going to rewrite your problem. So we're going to be x, we've gotten rid of this, equals, and what does it equal? 17. And so x is by itself, so this is your answer. Okay, oh, I didn't get anything to erase with. Hold on, let me grab a tissue. Okay. And now if you had another problem like this, just insert the numbers. So now if you had another problem, this was subtraction. To get rid of it, you would add. You would always do the opposite. Okay. Now let's do number 2. So number 2, 5x equals 75. Hopefully these are showing up okay. Okay. Again, we need to solve for x. We need to get x by itself. So when a number is right next to the x, and the x is called your exponent, when it's right next to that, that means it's timesing it. So you could pretend there's a little time side inside of it. So we need to get it over on this side. So we need to do the opposite on here. Let's see, the opposite. What's the word I'm trying to look for? So this is times, so we need to do the opposite. So the opposite of times is divide. So we need to divide the 5 on this side, and that is going to wipe it out. Now again, remember, we have to do the same that we do on this side, we have to do on this side. So we're going to take it over here and divide the 5. So take your handy calculator. 75 divided by 5 equals 15. Now we're going to rewrite the problem. So this is gone. X equals, what does it equal? 15. X is by itself, so that is your answer. Okay? And if this was divide, we would times it, do the opposite. So just always remember, we or moving everything to the other side to get it alone, and then Yeah, doing the opposite. Okay, let's do number 3. Oops. Okay, this one is almost the same as number 1, but there's a negative sign in it. So negative sometimes can be confusing. So x minus 9 equals negative 12. And still, this is the same as number 1, except for there's a negative sign. Okay, so number 1, it was addition, so we had to subtract. Number 3, this is subtraction, so we got to do the opposite. So we need to add 9. Always do the opposite. We'll wipe out. Now we got to do it to the same over here. And that other one, I went downwards, so this time I'm going to go to the side. It doesn't really matter which way you do it. It's both the same, equals. So now we got to remember there's a negative. And honestly, just use your calculator. So put your negative 12 in, plus 9 equals negative 3. So negatives are just like a whole nother ball game and a lot more confusing. So as long as you can use your calculator on these, because doing negatives, adding and subtraction is a whole nother thing that we don't want to get confused on right now. So let's just use our calculator. Okay, rewrite our problem. X, we wiped everything out there, so then our equal sign's next. We did the math problem here, which equals negative 3. Okay. Okay, let's see. Number 4, that one is different. So x divided by negative 4 equals 3. Okay, again, we got to get x by itself, and we need to do the opposite. I don't even know what to call it, problem, to get it over here. So this is a divide sign, so that means we need to multiply. We have to do the opposite. So right here, I'm going to put times. So a little dot also means times besides an x, and we don't want to use an x just because we have that little x there, so we don't get confused. So we need to divide negative 4 times negative 4, which is going to wipe this out. So now that's gone. And now we're going to times, bring it over here and times this. Okay. We'll do a dot for the times so it doesn't get confusing with an x. Times negative 4 equals. Okay, now this is where with multiplying and dividing a negative number, do the problem first. So add and subtract is a little bit different. You definitely want to use your calculator, but with multiplying and dividing, I want to teach you the rule to this. Okay, so do the number first. So 3 times 4 equals 12. Okay, use your calculator if you don't feel comfortable. Okay, so the regular multiply, if this is multiply or divide, you do the math problem the same. Now there's a negative sign, so this is the rule with a negative sign. If there's a positive times a positive, it equals a positive. If there's a negative times a positive, it equals a negative. And vice versa, positive times negative equals negative. Negative times negative equals positive. Okay, so the rule to this is if the signs are the same, so do you see how this is the same, so it's positive. Okay, this sign's the same, this sign's the same, it's positive. So your rule is when you're multiplying or dividing, if the sign is the same, it's a positive. Now, this sign's a positive, this sign's a negative, so it's not going to be the same. So we come down here, a negative and a positive, or a positive and negative. So the signs are different, it's a negative. So our signs up here is a positive and a negative, so our signs are different. So our answer will be negative. Okay, that's a rule that you always want to remember. The same side sign equals positive, different side equals negative. Okay, and then just rewrite your problem. X is alone now equals negative 12. Okay. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, let's see. 5. Okay, this one, 5 will be kind of confusing a little. So 7 minus x equals 28. Okay, this one looks like number 1, but there is one extra step to it. Okay, so we need to get x alone. So 7 is over here. Now, there's no sign in front of 7, so that just automatically means like it's a positive. It looks positive. So you pretend there was an add sign there. So you're going to want to subtract to get rid of it. So if we had a pretend plus right there because it's a positive number. So we know the opposite of that is to subtract. So we're going to subtract 7. Wipe it out. Subtract 7. Okay. And that is going to equal 28 minus 7 equals 21. Okay. Now I want you to rewrite this. So now you have to remember there's this sign right here. We can't just put an x. So there's a negative x equals 21. So is x by itself? Yes, kind of. But this negative sign is making it so it's not truly by itself. So when there's an exponent, there's like an imaginary number 1 next to it. So you would think there was a number 1. So we have to pretend that there is a 1 next to that, which it's usually okay because it's a plus sign, so it doesn't matter. But with a negative, we have to get rid of the negative, okay? So it looks like it is being times, right? The numbers right next to each other are being times. So to get rid of a times, we have to divide. So we need to divide the negative, which it technically would be a 1, okay? Because we have to pretend there's a 1 right there. Okay, so now it will cross out and get rid of the negative. And now we have to divide the 21 by a negative 1. Okay, and if you remember our rule we just went over, okay, anything times or divided by 1 is the same number. The number doesn't change. So no matter what, this is 21, okay? So anything times or multiplied by 1 is still 21. That's why it kind of is like it's not really there, but it is. But now we have a sign. This is the problem we have to look at. So this one's a positive, this one's a negative. So our signs are different. So when our signs are different, what is our answer? It is negative. Because our signs are different. If our signs were the same, it would be positive. If our signs are different, it's negative. So now rewrite one more time. X equals negative 21. Okay. Okay, this is the last. I'm going to jump in, let's see, 6 minus 3. Yes, okay. I'm going to do number 6 for you, and I think the rest, I want you to try by yourself. So 6 is 3x plus 3 equals 6. Okay, so now we have 2 sets of numbers. And this is how most of the rest of your problems are. There's 2 sets of numbers. So you need to get rid of the number that is not next to the x first. Okay, so your first rule of this is get rid of the number that is not next to the x. So we have to do the opposite. It's plus 3, so that means we need to do the opposite, which is minus 3. that gets rid of it. Minus 3 is 3. Okay, and now we're going to rewrite our problem. 3x equals 3. So now we have a new problem. Now we need to get x by itself. So 3 is timesing the x, so it's next to it. So you have to pretend there's a little time sign in there. So the opposite of times is divide. Divide the 3. It's going to get rid of the 3. Divide the 3. Now rewrite with your answer. 3 divided by 3 equals 1. X equals 1. Now it's by itself. Okay, it looks like most of your other problems are like this. So they're going to be 2-step. Okay, so just remember when you do your 2 steps that you get rid of the number that's not next to the x first, doing the opposite. Then rewrite your problem and then do the opposite next to the x. Okay? And if you're doing negative numbers, if you're adding or subtraction, make sure you use your calculator. So because that rule is a little bit confusing. So just use your calculator when you're adding or subtracting a negative. When you're timesing or dividing a negative, remember if the signs are the same, it's a positive. If the signs are different, it's negative. Okay? And let me know how you do. I feel like weird that I'm... Here, let's... Here you can see my whole bedroom. Hopefully you can see me here. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions as you're doing this. And if you do, message me and let's do a FaceTime and I'll walk you through each steps and then have you do it and then you can ask me questions. Okay? Good luck. You got this, girl. Okay? Have fun.